Thank you for joining us for this sermon podcast from United Church on the Green, located in New Haven, Connecticut. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are invited and welcome. If you enjoy this podcast and would like to learn more about our open and affirming ministry at United Church on the Green, please visit our website at unitednewhaven.org. Thank you.
If no one has had a chance to tell you how very glad we are that you are here today at United Church on the Green, hear me say today it is warm inside, and I am so glad you are here. Welcome to all who have no church home, who need strength, who want to follow Christ, who have doubt, or who do not believe. And welcome to new visitors, and welcome to old friends. Welcome to children and to grandparents and to mothers and to fathers and to single people. Welcome to families of all configurations, to young and to old, to believers and questioners, to questioning believers. Welcome to everyone. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are more than welcome here. Would you pray with me, please? Dear God, will you please be with us as we open our hearts and our minds to what it is that you are calling us to say, to hear, and to respond. Be with us, we pray, dear God. Amen. I am going through numerous page changes here since both Caesar and I were away at conferences this week and communion did not get put into the bulletin. But we are having communion, so follow my lead. It's interesting as a clergy person to be on Facebook with my colleagues. And there were numerous pages of colleagues saying, I hate this passage. I don't want to preach on this passage. I don't have my sermon done yet. As much as late last night, people were asking for help with this sermon. And I know John Gage often would say to you, this one is a mightily difficult passage. Well, it is. It's a passage about the temptations and the difficulties that we all face, not only in writing about it, but in dealing with it. And as you know, I write my sermons on Monday, so I was not part of that Facebook train, although I certainly read it. But I spoke to Nicole and I told her I was preaching on temptations this Sunday, and she said, oh, you mean don't eat so much chocolate? Well, chocolate indeed is quite indulgent. You know well the saying that the devil made me do it, but I'm not going to preach on that either. But it does have to do with temptation and being tested for sure. Well, dear people, we had a wonderful Ash Wednesday service, a joint service with Redeemer, and there were quite a few of you there as we participated together, and Dan played the recorder, and we all celebrated together what it means to come together at the beginning of Lent. But it came so fast, didn't it? We have a late Easter, but somehow it all just came up and crowded on us so quickly. It is Lent. This is the first Sunday in Lent. And we are invited to take a journey through the desert, in the beginning of a time of reflection and self-assessment and meditation. It's a reflective, examining time of the inner places of our soul. Catherine Matthews quotes Barbara Brown Taylor, who gives a wonderful description of how Lent came to be. How many of you know how Lent came to be? Oh, I have a collective audience. This is good. After all, did you know that Lent is not in the Bible? It is really more of a church thing. Many years after Jesus had not returned as quickly as expected, the followers of Jesus had learned to accommodate their own lives to the surrounding culture, finding no contradiction between being comfortable and being Christian. Well, so much for martyrdom and bold witness and challenging the powers to be, speaking out or standing up for the poor or for the marginalized. Instead, Taylor says, our ancestors in faith decided to be nice instead of holy, and God moaned out loud. So the church dug into its deep deep faith story, recalling the time and always remember that the number 40 was always part of this, that Israel, Elijah, and Jesus had each spent time in the desert, wandering and longing and learning and hungry. In response to this hunger, the emptiness, and the longing, the church, Taylor says, created Lent as a springtime of the soul. In fact, the English word Lent comes from the word for spring. And I know today is a hard day to think about spring, but on Monday I was. Like our own urge to clean house in the spring, the church recognized the need for a spiritual spring cleaning as well. And it offered 40 days to cleanse the system and open our eyes to what remains when all comfort is gone. To live by the grace of God alone and not by what we all can supply for ourselves. As Travis Reed says, before there is light, there is darkness. And as you know, we have two mothers in the room today with infants, so I can also say before there is birth, there is pain, right? Before every meaningful moment, there is a time of preparation, a time of longing. Lent is the 40 days that we set aside to enter into the wilderness of our souls and find that place of quietness, a place of openness, and even a place of emptiness. Lent is much more than just about self-denial and giving up indulgences, isn't it, Larry? It is about preparation and encounter. And it was in the desert where Jesus encountered the demons of the deepest temptations, but it was also where he found God's sustaining presence and God's love. So today, we go into that desert space with Jesus where he meets the devil. And according to Thomas Long, Jesus, like Israel and like us, is tempted, or we were likely to say tested, as the Greek word is translated accurately, in ways that symbolize all of the possibilities for doubt and for misdirection, for faithless choices, and for unholy distractions. Like those earlier Christians who settled into a comfortable faith, we're tempted today to turn away from the suffering of the world, tempted to build our own defenses against doubt and risk, and tempted to concentrate not only on our own needs, but also our own wants before thinking of others. And in doing so, we forget who we are to and fall prey to the tempter. Dear people, I tell you, this is one of the greatest temptations. In this day and age of the political climate in which we live, let us not fall prey to only thinking of ourselves, our wants, and our needs. And let us not forget whose we are and what it is we are called to do. That is a daily temptation for those of us who consider ourselves privileged Christians. Now, in the Gospel of Matthew, which we are reading in what we call Year A, which you will see in your bulletin, this is Year A, and in that we are reading mostly from the Gospel of Matthew. And in this Gospel, Jesus had just come from being baptized, from that amazing incident at the river, when after he was baptized, the sky opened and a dove came down and you heard God's word saying, "This is my beloved Son." Immediately in the Gospel of Matthew, he goes into the wilderness for 40 days, there's the 40 days and 40 nights, in an attempt to meditate on this heavy-duty call from God and to figure out what all this meant. And then, bam, the devil came. And he was hungry. Jesus was hungry. He had fasted the whole time, and the devil got him in a very vulnerable state. How many of you really know what it is to be hungry? To go 40 days and 40 nights, so to speak, without food. Matthews believes that Jesus experienced not only hunger and loneliness and perhaps doubt, but also the temptation to relieve his hunger and his suffering by turning stones into edible bread. And by testing God just to make sure what he had heard down by the river was really true. And by grabbing power and glory, even if it cost him his loyalty to his one true God, whose child he was. Again, Taylor describes the pressure from the devil, who tempted Jesus and continues to tempt his followers even today, with the belief that being Christian, hear this, with the belief that being Christian somehow makes life easier and better, and perhaps even more entitled. Well, we know for sure that this is not so. Instead of being entitled and privileged, dear people, we are rather called to feed the hungry and to release the captives and to help the marginalized. We have to be prophetic, and we have to act on it. We are indeed being tested today, are we not? In so many areas. So let's examine what Jesus was tempted in, what areas. You see, he was charged to perform miracles for an immediate need. That was command the stones to become bread. And to show a convincing sign of who he really was. So throw yourself down and have the angels take you up. What an easy sign that could be for the Son of God. And he was challenged to exercise political power. Bow down and worship me, and I will give you all the kingdoms of this world and its glory. These three temptations can also be characterized to us by being tempted by pride, right? Being tempted by power, and being tempted by possessions. All these temptations are actually ones that Jesus meets head on in many years of his ministry. And with each of these temptations, Jesus throws at the devil words from the Old Testament that Alan read to us. And he says, I will worship the Lord my God and serve only my God. As Nurullo Parish writes, when tempted to put himself first, instead Jesus puts God first. He puts spiritual nourishment above bodily nourishment. Trust in God above testing God. Faithfulness to God above wealth. He places his relationship with the eternal above all, far above the temptations the devil offers. And he does all this without a single second's thought, in total unity with God. Jesus really passed the test. Well, what about us? Don't we all know the seduction of pride, the desire for power, and the wish for even more possessions? I do believe his temptations are ones that we are familiar with. But this story is not just all about Jesus, it is also about us. It's about our temptations, how we might deal with being daily tested, and recognizing where we might be in the responses that Jesus makes in return. Dear friends, can we say that we put God, a deeply loving and accepting God, above all else? A God who accepts us in spite of our failures, our pride, our misguided need for more and more possessions, where there is such need in our world, and our desire for more and more power. Does this all come down from our own self-depreciation, feelings of inadequacy, and a cover for our deep, deep inner hunger? Our Lenten journey takes us through the desert with Jesus, whom we acknowledge came as a human in bodily form and was tempted as all humans are. but he was able to be without sin because he is the Christ. It is because of him that we are able to trust in God and find forgiveness as we succumb, probably daily, to temptations. In our weekly prayer of confession, we pray about our separation from God and the consequences of our humanity. And then we hear those blessed words of assurance. Dear people, you are forgiven. Because of God's saving action on the cross, we don't need to be afraid when we give into temptation. We can simply ask God for forgiveness and begin again. I was deeply moved by Xavier's baptism last week. With a sign and seal of God's love and acceptance of him, we welcomed him into the household of faith. God bless you, Xavier. I hope that our baptism reminds us all the promises that are inscribed on our foreheads at our baptisms. Please put your hands on your forehead. Remember that God has declared us worthy of love, of dignity, and respect, and is pledged to be both with us and for us throughout our lives. In light of this, let's call to mind just one time when you felt inadequate or unworthy this past week. When you might have given in to a temptation that blindsided you. May I remind you clearly and strongly, dear people, that God has declared in Jesus that you are enough. Actually, more than enough. As God has accepted you too as God's own beloved child. So however you read the temptation story, whether you connect with the temptation of pride or possession or of power, or maybe all three, remember that through God's love for you, you can always begin anew. May this time of reflection during Lent bring clarity to you, God's beloved children. Amen.